Grace and peace, family. I'm Dr. Brandon McCray, and welcome to another edition of Wisdom on Wednesday. Today, we'll be beginning a series entitled Managing Your In-Between Moments. We will be looking at and examining Ezekiel chapter 37, verses 1 through 14. Now, we've seen this and read this and quoted it many times, but allow me to read in your hearing in the English Standard Version one verse. Verse 1 says, "The hand of the Lord was upon me, and he brought me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the middle of a valley. It was full of bones." What's interesting is that this particular passage has been preached and quoted many times, and many times we've heard it out of context. Allow me today to give you the proper historical context behind this text. And later on in the series, we'll be examining, as you know, expositionally, verse by verse, pulling out the meaning, those hidden truths behind what it is God has to say to our people today, looking at the inspiration of what he said to his people then. So let's look at the context today. If you know anything about the book of Ezekiel, you would understand that the prophet Ezekiel was a prophet that prophesied in Babylonian captivity. He prophesied to the exiles, those that had been pulled away from Israel and ultimately the northern kingdom of Israel, Judah, the southern kingdom, and the northern kingdom of Israel. The northern kingdom of Israel was under Assyrian captivity first. We see this in 722 BC. Those people had become idolatrous, and God had allowed them to fall in the northern kingdoms, those 10 northern kingdoms first, but he saved the southern kingdom where Jerusalem was, or the city of David, Zion, if you will. He let those people be spared because of God's promises to David, his promises to people like Isaiah in his ministry, and of course, righteous rulers, remnant rulers like Hezekiah. But because of the corruption of Hezekiah's son, his son Manasseh, and his grandson Ammon, the people of Israel fell back into deep apostasy, idolatry, and they fell in ill repute with God. Now, we'll see the backdrop of this story in 2 Kings from chapters 18 to about 25, 26. And ultimately, when they fell back into apostasy, God had to call into action the promise that he made in Deuteronomy through his prophet Moses. He said that these things would happen to his people if they were to fall into apostasy. What we see on the greater national scene, now we've seen what happened on the national scene. Israel was dominated by Assyria, the dominant power of the Near East, for about 250 years. On the international platform, we see that there was a battle of conquest between Babylonia, or Neo-Babylonia, as theologians and scholars would say, which was the new power in world ascendancy, as my favorite preacher C.L. Franklin would say. They were battling and vying for this same level of power with Assyria, the current power. What you will see is in 612 BC, the Babylonians defeated Assyria and captured their capital. Their capital was Nineveh. Now, Pharaoh Necho, jumping into grown folks' business, wanted to thwart the ascendancy of Babylonia. So in a battle called Carchemish, he attempted to assert his power and ended up being ransacked by Babylonia when Babylonia eventually took power over Assyria and Egypt. In that battle, Judah was conquered, and Jerusalem in the Battle of Carchemish, 605 BC, was captured. And it was there that we see Moses' prophecy reaching ahead in 588 BC. In 597 BC, Ezekiel, along with Jehoiakim and his mother and all of the high-regarded people, were pulled away into Babylonian captivity. The Hebrew scholars Ralph H. Alexander says it like this: "It was in this period of international turmoil and unrest, combined with the immorality and apostasy of Judah, that Ezekiel ministered." As we're closing the chapter on our conversation today, I want you to take one thing with you as a note of hope. And remember this, take a note. God does his greatest work in our darkest times. This has been your boy Brandon McCray, BmacMusik. I want you to do 3 things for me: like, share, and comment on this post. We want to make something God go viral. And until next week, I want to see your face in the same space for Wisdom on Wednesday. Listen, holla at your boy.